the truth and what his wife is doing.
The camera lights were still blazing when the host leaned in with that mischievous grin, the kind you only see when someone is about to drop a bombshell on live television. And Meghan Markle's name was written all over it, happening on a primetime current affairs show in Los Angeles, the type that prides itself on cutting through the noise. And while viewers expected a tame panel discussion about celebrity influence in politics, they were served something far juicier.
Ukraine, as part of his charm offensive, his what I called his Love Me Do royal tour, his pretend royal tour, where he went to he thinks that after 5 years of trashing the royal family, calling his dad a racist, calling Kate a...
Because halfway through the segment, the host casually mentioned that Meghan had been working her way through California's Billionaire circuit like a debutante on a mission, and the studio audience gasped so loudly it practically rattled the cameras. Then came the real bombshell. She allegedly hasn't just been schmoozing billionaires for clout. She's been positioning herself as a future political power player, with California Governor Gavin Newsom quietly nudging open the doors. And while Harry has been trying to reinvent himself as some sort of mental health guru and philanthropy mascot, Meghan has been plotting something far more ambitious and far more dangerous. And the best part, Harry had no idea this was about to be broadcast to the entire world. And when he found out, he reportedly lost it, so let's rewind.
Rightly say, he did a lot for that girl. She even admitted it in the early days before she distanced herself from him.
He lives 3 hours away. There is no excuse. And
Still,
actually,
no,
I have to say it's pretty, some of the circumstances that he's living in.
Meghan has been spotted at a string of ultra-exclusive soirees in Malibu, Montecito, and Silicon Valley. And these aren't your average cocktail parties. These are rooms filled with venture capital sharks, tech titans, and legacy dynasties, the kind of people who don't bat an eye at dropping $10 million just to name a hospital wing. And at first, everyone assumed Meghan was simply networking, trying to land a few brand partnerships or find an investor for her next lifestyle project. But the live TV segment revealed something darker. According to a former aide who spoke out during that segment, Meghan has been openly telling certain billionaire hosts that she's building her legacy and seeking strategic allies to reshape the California narrative.
I mean, not for Meghan Markle, because all she needs is that title. She's taking that title and she's monetizing it left and right, from restaurants to loose fruit spread. She got exactly what she needs.
In other words, she wants power, not influencer power, not podcast power, but political power. And here's where it gets messy. Gavin Newsom allegedly knows all about it and isn't just tolerating it, he's encouraging it. And viewers nearly fell out of their chairs as the segment laid it all out, revealing that Newsom's team has been quietly floating Meghan's name in closed-door Democratic donor meetings, not as a serious candidate yet, but as a potential future contender, think 10 years down the line, with one strategist allegedly saying, "Right now she's tabloid chaos, but chaos fades. Money and connections don't," meaning they're betting on the long game. And Meghan has been more than happy to play along, cozying up to media moguls, attending think tank panels, and even hiring former political consultants to help shape her messaging.
I think probably it was different several years ago, where I couldn't be as vocal and I had to wear nude pantyhose all the time.
Her goal has been to position herself as the glamorous, modern, compassion-driven face of California's future. And if that sounds like something ripped straight from a dystopian Netflix drama, just wait, because when this segment aired, Harry was reportedly watching from home and went absolutely ballistic, with sources close to the Sussex Circle saying he erupted the moment he saw the footage, not just because it blindsided him, though it did, but because it confirmed the one thing he's always been terrified of, that Meghan's ambitions are no longer about them as a couple, they're about her.
And the damage he and his American wife have done in 5 frightful years of disrespecting the royal family. Why can't he see that branding Charles and Kate...
He spent years bending his image, reputation, and entire identity to fit the Californian fantasy they built together, walking away from his family, burning royal bridges, and becoming a punchline in the British press, all because he believed in the idea of Team Sussex. But now, watching this slick panel casually discuss Meghan as if she's already planning her coronation at the California state capitol, he realized he's no longer part of the plan, and that crushed him, with things getting even messier behind the scenes as some of Meghan's billionaire allies reportedly started quietly advising her to cut Harry loose, not necessarily in marriage, but in optics, seeing him as baggage, a man-child stuck in perpetual victim mode, a tabloid magnate who can't stop airing dirty laundry, and most importantly, a liability if Meghan wants to be taken seriously in political or business elite circles, with one Silicon Valley investor even saying, "Off the record, Harry's a sad story. Meghan's a brand. Don't mix the two." And you can bet Harry has heard whispers of this. Which explains why, when that live segment hit the air, he reportedly threw his phone across the room and started pacing like a caged tiger, furious not just at the press, but at her because she'd sworn they were in this together. And now it looks like she's planning her next empire, one that doesn't include him, with the part that really made his blood boil being the governor plot. As the segment claimed, Newsom has been using Meghan as a soft influence figure, inviting her to select events, encouraging her philanthropic ventures, and treating her like a kind of unofficial cultural ambassador. California. All without telling Harry, and to him it felt like a betrayal. Like everyone around him had been in on some secret he wasn't trusted to know. And considering how obsessed Harry has been with control and privacy since leaving the royal family, this hit him like a freight train, because he's supposed to be her partner. Yet she's out there playing political chess while he's still trying to figure out how to stay relevant. Remembering that this is a man who once thought he'd be Diana 2.0, adored, powerful, untouchable. But now he's watching his wife potentially outgrow him in every way that matters. And worse, she seems to be enjoying it. Thriving on the attention, soaking up the flattery, and according to insiders, she even started referring to their Montecito mansion as HQ, as in headquarters. Harry calls it home. Meghan calls it HQ, which pretty much says it all. And as this story goes viral, Harry is spiraling because he knows what happens next. The headlines will start calling her America's future darling. Political donors will start circling, and he'll fade further into the background. The red-headed footnote who gave up a kingdom and got benched in Malibu, and in his worst nightmares. Meghan becomes California royalty while he becomes the guy who waters her plants. And now that the whole world knows about her secret billionaire hunt and cozy alliance with the governor, that nightmare is inching closer to reality. So while Harry was pacing around Montecito like a storm cloud in designer sneakers, Meghan was doing what she does best, pretending everything was fine. Because the morning after that live TV bombshell detonated, she waltzed into a Beverly Hills brunch, looking like she had stepped out of a couture campaign. Sunglasses, sharp white blazer, not a hair out of place. But behind those oversized lenses, panic, because she knew exactly what had happened. That segment didn't just expose her billionaire charm offensive, it exposed her endgame. And suddenly, the whispers that used to stay in Malibu mansions were echoing on. National television was buzzing, and the room full of brunching power publicists all knew it too, with phones nonstop and screens flashing words like plot, governor, and ambition overload. Some calling it bold, others reckless, but everyone agreeing on one thing: Meghan had just crossed a line. Meanwhile, back in Montecito, Harry was in full meltdown mode, reportedly confronting her the second she got home, demanding to know if the rumors were true. Had she really pitched herself as a future leader to Silicon Valley billionaires? Was she seriously trying to get into Gavin Newsom's inner circle? And why had she kept it from him? With witnesses saying he was red-faced, nearly shouting, displaying the kind of raw, volcanic anger rare for Harry but unmistakable when it hits, while Meghan allegedly went icy, telling him he was overreacting, that this was just networking, just optics, and in true Meghan fashion, turned the blame back on him, reportedly saying, "Maybe if you were more ambitious, they wouldn't see me as the only one worth investing in." A single sentence hitting him harder than any tabloid ever could. And while they tore each other apart behind closed doors, the outside world was tearing Meghan apart too. With headlines like the Daily Mail going for the jugular, Meghan's secret power grab, Duchess-ized Sacramento, Page 6 highlighting the drama with Meghan's billionaire bid backfires, Harry left in the dark, and even the Times in London piling on with a pointed editorial asking if Meghan Markle was attempting to do what Wallis Simpson never could. Trade scandal for sovereignty, the British press smelled blood and feasted, and Harry, watching it all unfold from their gilded California bunker, was reportedly crushed, because even though Meghan was the one being skewered, he knew they were laughing at him, the hapless husband who couldn't see his wife building an empire around him. Meanwhile, in California political circles, things were getting just as spicy, with sources close to Gavin Newsom frantically trying to control the narrative. His aides quietly telling reporters that Meghan was just a philanthropic friend of California and absolutely not being groomed for office. But here's the twist. Not everyone believed them. With several high-profile donors reportedly saying off the record that Meghan had been very direct about her future ambitions in private meetings, and one tech investor even leaking that Meghan once said, "If California can make movie stars into governors, why not someone who married a prince?" A line that made its way onto social media within hours and detonated. Hashtags like "Cheer Meghan for Governor" and "Montecito Machiavelli" suddenly trending. Half of Twitter mocking her, the other half strangely cheering her on. But for Harry, it didn't matter. All he saw was the nightmare coming true. And it gets worse because the same TV host who exposed the billionaire hunt doubled down the next night, running a follow-up segment titled "The California Crown, Meghan's Political Play." And this time they brought receipts. Photos of Meghan at invitation-only retreats with tech billionaires. Screenshots of leaked emails between her PR team and Democratic political consultants. Even whispers that she'd been quietly advised by a former Obama strategist about brand positioning for public office, turning it from gossip into a full-blown blueprint. And the second Harry saw that, insiders say he just broke. Not angry, not fiery, just broken. Reportedly telling a friend, "I left everything behind so we could be a team. But she's building her future without me." To which the friend bluntly replied, "She doesn't want a team. She wants a throne." And by this point, the British royals were quietly snickering behind palace gates. Royal aides who had spent years fuming over Meghan's media antics now gleefully feeding quotes to friendly papers. With one palace source telling the Telegraph, "If Meghan becomes a politician, she'll finally have the accountability she's always run from." Imagine the debates. She'd last 5 minutes, and even William allegedly cracked a rare smirk when briefed on the drama, reportedly muttering, "Good luck to California," which stung Harry the most, because his family, the same people he once dreamed of proving wrong, now just saw him as Meghan's sidekick in her solo power grab. Not a partner, not a prince, just a +1. And Meghan isn't backing down, because while Harry spirals, she's already recalibrating, with her team reportedly scrubbing the optics and repositioning her image from fame-chasing duchess to philanthropic visionary, set to appear at an elite climate summit next month, sitting on a panel between 2 billionaires and a former UN diplomat. And word is she plans to bring up California's leadership future in her speech, which of course sent Harry into another tailspin, because she's not hiding it anymore, she's flaunting it, daring people to watch her climb, and he knows they will, because despite all the chaos, backlash, and eye-rolling headlines, Meghan still has the one thing Harry doesn't: momentum. She's on the rise, he's stuck in the past, and nothing terrifies him more than the possibility that when she finally reaches the top, she might not look back, while Montecito feels like a glass palace on the verge of cracking. With Harry brooding alone, replaying that TV segment on a loop, muttering about betrayal and being used, while Meghan doubles down on power lunches, billionaire retreats, and carefully staged photo ops. And what they once talked about, changing the world together, is now gone. Because for Meghan, the world isn't something to change with Harry anymore. It's something to conquer on her own. And for Harry, that's the part that hurts the most.